more than words. We are the Aunties of Inclusion. I am Liz,
And I'm Shara.
and we are your hosts.
Yes. So this is a special edition, y'all. So if you're just joining us, that means you missed a lot. So go catch up. One, two, go on, run it back, download those episodes. But really, today is a special edition because we are really looking at the last couple of days of the year. And we wanted to kind of do a recap and really take a moment to reflect. We talk about reflection a lot. We kind of close out our episodes that way, but we needed to reflect and we thought we should catch you up because we've been running quite a bit of our recordings with guests and we just wanted you to spend some time with us. So come on in, pull up your seat, get your tea, your coffee, your water. I know I need the water, so you're going to see me with some water pull up here and apologize is in the bottle because that's all I got right now. But Liz, so how we want to do this? How do you want to start? What do you think we should give them first? You know what I mean? Because I'm getting antsy. I'm like, okay, I want to tell them what we thinking about. I want to
Ooh.
tell them what we thinking about. No,
Well,
okay,
first,
okay.
I want to take I'm very much a big about gratitude, right? So first, being grateful for this podcast, being grateful for this platform. Like, what an adventure! If you think about it, we started less than 6 months ago.
Yep.
And in that, we've had some amazing guests, some powerful conversations. You and I have had so many conversations. And we've also gotten so used to recording that even when we're not recording, we're like, we should be recording this, right?
Yes. Yes. And we've had some amazing opportunities to host events and to like come into different environments that we get to do and do together. So where people really appreciate our individuality and the collective effort of like the Aunties of Inclusion. So I mean,
So,
I'm feeling the energy and the love. You know what I mean?
what was the one thing, if I can ask you something? I know I'm like throwing you, I'm not following
This is
our timeline, but
there's no timeline. Go
there's no
ahead.
time. Was the one thing that was surprisingly unexpected that came out of this podcast for you?
Oh, that's a good question. And it's a toss up between two things. One, it was just how much I had to test my vulnerability. And I use that word test intentionally because it's different to be vulnerable in private spaces with people who you love and they know you and those things, but to share so much outside of those structures was a big piece for me. And go check out the other podcast, you'll learn a lot about me, my upbringing, and kind of why that's important. But that testing my vulnerability in this space. The other piece was very kind of shallow in nature, but very important to me. I got to really feel like get stylish. Like I had a big weight loss journey, and in that I had to like rework my confidence and some body dysmorphia that we'll talk a little bit about in the new year. But like all of that stuff had to kind of work itself out, and being on video, being in front of others allowed me to show up way faster than I think I would have ever started to notice some of the things. So shout out to my friend Jamie, who's probably listening to this, who's like, girl, I told you that was body dysmorphia like when it first was happening. And I was like, no, it's not. And then I gotta go process it. And then I'm like, yeah, you was right about like 100 years ago. Like, yeah. So yeah, you were right, Jamie. You were right. So you got one. But how about you?
I think for me was one, I think I found my purpose through this whole
Okay.
journey. Yeah, I mean, girl, that would take it real deep then. I mean, being coming from corporate in accounting for 20 years, but I always had a feeling there's more to this. Is this it? I remember having a conversation with my best friend one time, and I think I brought it up in another episode too. And I'll just add in there too. I'm gonna kind of add something in there. These unexpected things that came up for me that I didn't realize like I hadn't processed, that maybe I needed to just sit and think about a little bit more, especially as we brought in our guests in, and especially as their stories, like I resonated a lot with a lot of the stories, and I said, oh wow, like I had never processed that. I never allowed myself to process this experience that I had, or because it was always like, I'm the expert, right? I'm sitting here and I'm the host, and maybe not the expert, but I'm here the host, right? But in reality, it served me so much too. And in that, I was like, how many of us are out there that, feel stuck, or they
Mm-hmm.
feel lost? Or also, too, we were just talking about one of my really good friends, and him very well, Shara, too. Well, I don't know how much you know him, but I've been pushing him to start his own podcast, and he was like, I get it. I get what you're trying to tell me. Progress over perfection. So I think it really, really taught me some really valuable lessons. And in that, it said, you have a voice, use it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be progress, because nobody wants to see perfect. Like, nobody wants to see perfect. It's like when you go to the gym, right? You go to the gym and you're intimidated by all these machines and these people, and like there's muscular people, and that's all you see, right? Like when you go into a gym, most people are like, they see what they want to see, and what they
Right.
see is like the fittest of the fittest, right? And people knowing exactly what to do with the machines, and they don't want to, they're like, you know what, I'm just gonna beeline to the cardio machine and step ladder my way. But you know what you really need to be doing to make a difference in your weight loss is go get those weights, right? Lift heavy and lift a lot. But people are really
Mm-hmm.
intimidated and they shy away. And most of the time, it's their own perception of what others are. And it's like, actually, everybody else is just as lost as you are, and just get there, because people are there to help. you know
Yes.
and I think that was like all of that, right? Like my purpose, my passion, using my voice, and asking for help. Oh my gosh. And it's not really asking for help, right? It's using my resources, which is like you, Shara, right? You've brought so much knowledge and like this craving to learn about this and learn about other people's experiences, and truly, and learning them from them, as opposed to my own perception of what I'm making up that they are. So I think all of that. I know that was probably too much for a short video,
No,
but
girl, you
that's it.
better live. You better go on with your purpose. I know the listeners. So first and foremost, I don't. First of all, I never think that being sharing specifically something that's important to you is should have a timeline. One, two, I think a lot of us have been on this journey of purpose, right? Like, and I think to hear different perspectives of how it shows up and what it looks like, and I don't think these are light topics, right? Like I think once again, we put ourselves out there quite a bit, and it becomes normal to us. But there's somebody right now who's still trying to put the words in the language and validate what they're feeling is true, and some people who are moving through it, and they need to hear, hey, this happens, right? Like this
Absolutely. I
is
mean, I think one of your most vulnerable episodes, I mean, how many people came up to us in our events, in the events that we hosted, and they were like, "Wow, I had no idea."
all the time.
Or gosh, I learned so much. So I
Yeah.
always tell people, like, share your story, because you don't know who it might help, even though it is scary. And
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to be scared.
Yeah, and we're everyday people in this work, right? Like we talk about this all the time. I mean, I don't know how many people have heard us do this spiel, but like when people ask us about our podcast, we're like, hey, it's about diversity, equity, inclusion, and building community and talking to people who are in the work every day. Like we're not openly looking for people who are, super famous and have all this, reputation, though we know some of those people. But at the end of the day, it's like we are all having, if this is a part of your passion, your purpose, your intention, then you're doing this every day, and it should be recognized, because it's I know people say thankless, like THANK, P. Let me spell that. Like if
Because
I don't
I'm
like
gonna
that.
add my own spelling in there.
I was about to say, let me just be clear about what we talk about. But yeah, I think we need to one, take credit for the fact that this is something that we are having an impact on every day, but also be able to claim that this is a part of who we are, and these stories need to be told. And that is the part that, to me, it gets me fired up every time. Like we both have our own individual stories, but the people we meet are equally as, on their journey or more, or in different places that their story needs to be told too. So to me, I'm with you, Liz. It just lights me up. Like,
I mean, I think it humanizes a lot of the topics that we have, and it makes you realize how many people are fighting in their communities for that impact. And like you said, like everyday heroes, right? Everyday people
yeah.
are fighting these things in places that you wouldn't have ever thought. I mean, I don't know how many times I'm like, wow, that's so interesting. I had no
No
idea.
idea.
I
I
had
was
no
like,
idea, right? Because you think
ooh.
about it, when you think about diversity, equity, and inclusion, you think about it from a workplace. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely too. But you've oftentimes have told us many times this journey is personal, and this is why it is so important to you and I. This is why we started this podcast, and why we reach out to the people that we do reach out, because we know it's personal. We have like personal lived experiences, and also we want to highlight other people's experiences from it. But also too, I think it humanizes. I always say, when you learn someone's story, your perspective will always shift about them. So I
Mm.
think
You better drop them quotes, them Instagram quote about, girl. Don't you be just throwing that out there like
I've been
that.
doing our content creation for the week, so it's been
Ooh, girl, you put a period on that one. I was like, hold on now. Sis, is that a list quote? Sis, where you get that from? Oh, child, you better throw them out there like that. We wasn't ready for that. Listen, if you didn't, you need to put that on us. Put that on
rewind.
a white background with some nice font and a period, right? Like that was
See,
nice.
you love that content creation now, don't you?
I do. Okay, another. You had to do it. It's fine. Go ahead. Let everybody know. Yes, I enjoy social media, our social media and planning. So you don't see me post a lot, no, but on More Than Words, I do a lot of posting. I love it. It brings out a lot of creativity. I do not do a lot of stories. Liz is the story person. Why? I just don't. I'd be like, first of all, this camera of mine isn't the best, and I'm not getting a new phone. It's a long story. We'll talk about it another time. I should bring my cousin on the show, tell you how ridiculous this conversation is about the phone. But then I will just say that I just enjoy promoting, like trying to find a way to promote our guests or our topics in a creative way, because I spend a lot of time, like I like to vision. I'm a visual person, so it really feeds a lot of things for me. It also becomes a little obsessive, by the way, where I like dream about. I'm like, ooh, you know what? I want to do this background. Like I'm just in my little world, right? It just creates another way for me to be in my world. But I really, really enjoy it. But one thing I do want to mention is I mean, I'm not trying to make this no love bomb or love fest, but I think one thing that someone mentioned that I sometimes forget about and I take for granted, it has been that our friendship, both professionally and personally, has gotten to be developed so deeply that people just be like, well, how long y'all know? It just seems like y'all know each other for a long time. I'm like, no, but yes, right? So go check the old episodes, get the history. But I honor it. Like I listen, one of those things, I have a small circle, and not looking for any friends, respectfully, just FYI, just throwing that out there. Just let me put it out there because I love y'all. I need to tell y'all I'm not looking. Okay. I guess I'm really versus okay, let me throw this. Okay, this is random. I gotta digress. So
Yeah, please
so
explain.
listen, let me throw this out here real quick. So, just so you know, and I got witnesses, when you tell people you have a podcast, people get excited and they want to know the topic. And then as soon as I say diversity, equity, inclusion, and community, and people get very passionate because in their whatever perspective that they hear that from, it brings about a very interesting conversation. Me and my cousin happened to be in a in a restaurant, that one of her favorite places to go. um it was my first time there. Hold on, everybody was super friendly. They clearly know who she is, right? Like it's a thing. This chef comes out, sous chef comes out, and this gentleman literally launches into like a 10-minute monologue about diversity, equity, inclusion from his perspective. That was so shocking. Like my cousin's not shocked by very much, but she was like, I can't believe this person got so passionate, and passion is probably light. It was a very aggressive conversation in the sense that this person was like, our voice as Black people, or, this is what you need to be doing kind of thing, versus that this was clearly a passionate topic for this individual, where clearly the being seen and heard wasn't something that happened at a frequency. So this was the opportunity to have that conversation. But anyway, it happens. My cousin takes it in, right? Like, I'm navigating it, right? Like, I'm used to it. This is a very familiar space. Like, when you're in D&I work, I mean, these are normal conversations, can happen anywhere you're trained. And I'm a coach, right? So you just coach it out. My cousin looks over at me. She's like, "Does this happen all the time?" I was like, 50% of the time, quite often, people have an explosive reaction. And explosive doesn't necessarily mean always negative, but like, it could be love bombing, it could be, hyper positivity and all types of other things that people bring to the conversation. And she was like, "Don't forget time." It's like, what is this? I'm like, this is the best part of what we do, right? Like, the point of this is not to just be in the green, like, yeah, everything's great, we're doing good things. Like, to be in the gray is to be into, like, hey, people have very passionate topic, and there's a lot of people not being seen and heard that need to be seen and heard. Like, that guy, I would bring him on the show. I think it would be, our audience probably be a lot shocked by that conversation. They'll be like, "Ooh, trigger
Well,
more than trigger you on them."
I'm all about the shock factor, right? Because that's what I know. Sure, she's always gotten after me with the shock. Like, "Now let's shock them, right? Let's do it. Like, let's fire, right?"
I was like, shocked for what though? That's
I
my
don't
point.
know.
My point is like, you do this, you get this energy, and then you do it. And I'm like, you should have just did it. I don't care. Why you ask about me? Like, I just sit here and smile. That's what I do. When you get like that, it's like,
That's
live, Liz, live.
that's
Live.
it. No, I think you're right. Like, you made such a great point about so many people aren't being heard or seen in this situation, in these topics, right? Um, and I think it's beautiful. Um, it's a mixture of different feelings, right? Because it's heartbreaking, it's beautiful, it's hopeful, it's angering, angering. It's just a combination of so many different feelings. And I think what we're doing is giving a platform for these stories, so people have a space where they do feel seen and heard, even if it's for the 30 minutes that they're on here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest thing in this work that we do, is being seen and heard. Because how many times were we not?
Yeah. And honestly though, it's becoming a little bit like, how sometimes you see, like, social media makes it seem like it's a lot of being seen and heard, but it's a lot of curation in that, right? So it's like, some people be like, "Oh, it's a lot of that," and I'm like, no, it's not a lot of quality of conversation. It's a lot of quantity of the discussion, or at least the perception of a discussion, or the perception of these topics being out there. But it's not a lot of quality conversations. There's no beginning, middle, end, and solution or consensus or passion, or there's something missing constantly, because there's snippets of
Absolutely.
life.
Yeah, absolutely. Because also too, how many times have you heard, and I've heard this being in the UK too, right? As I'm networking with people, saying this field is very saturated. Coaching is very saturated. My question is always back, and maybe I sound a little aggressive, but if it's such a saturated industry, if there's so many of us professionals out there, then why isn't the needle being moved as fast as the world is changing?
Mm.
Why is it that the
Mm.
McKinsey report came out that women are leaving the workforce at high speeds? Why is it that we still don't have changes from way at the top, right? So I'm saying, it goes back to your point. It's like, yes, there are a lot, but where's the quality in it? Where's the intentionality of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that brings up. I think one of the things I wanted to at least say about this particular work, I think, is, when you said that, it brings up that, there, during this podcast, one of the things someone mentioned to me, and it took me a while to kind of like take it in what it meant, but someone was saying that, you're allowing people who don't typically have a safe space, who do this work or are interested in this work, to kind of hold a space for them, right? And that doesn't, we do a lot of holding space for people, but understand the impact that these conversations can have for people who are not even aware that they need the space. Like, there's so many times that I find myself like re-listening to our podcast after we do, our thing. And I'm like, ooh, I needed that. Like, I was in the conversation. It was great at the time, but I wasn't ready for that information at the time. So then it came on me different, you know what I mean? And I think that part is the part that I'm so grateful for, because I get to hear myself grow. I get to challenge myself, and I get to hear other people go through their healing too, healing, whatever it is, they're healing their vulnerability. They're, just listening to have a sounding board. They're learning those types of things. So that's one of those things I want to add to my gratitude. I've been able to, what I call, test my healing in this work, right? And to really practice those skills to test my healing. And coaching has been really the gift for that. D&I work has been the gift for that. Mentoring and reach your back has been the gift for that. But I also want to also acknowledge my family and friends who, have allowed me to grow in that space, and didn't, it hasn't put boundaries on who they used to know me as to who I am today. And a good example that happened over the holidays, my aunt's funny. I mean, first of all, if y'all don't know, I come from a funny family, and I'm probably the least of the funniest. They're all funny people. But at the same time, my aunt said something to me. She was like, hey, there was this real interesting food situation. I know in my family, we get the to-go plates. It's a real big thing. Like, put yours somewhere so nobody take it. And in this instance, my cousin made a brutal mistake of not knowing where her, to-go plate was. Long story short, it was a moment of reckoning after we were like cleaning up for family dinner. And that moment of reckoning was like the plate was missing. And without thinking about it, like, I clearly was coaching, right? I had no acknowledgement of it happening. I was just trying to be there for my cousin because she clearly was upset about the situation. And not upset, but like disturbed that it happened, because it's not normal practice for someone to just pick up your stuff and roll. But anyway, my older aunt, she jokingly says the next day, she's like, yo, it was kind of nice to see you do your, your coaching thing. I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, this was going on, and I got to just watch you kind of do work. She's like, I've never seen you in action, like live, right? Like, she's heard the podcast, but she's like, I've never seen it in action and live. And she was like, that stuff is really working for you. Like, and keep in mind, I'm still kind of like perplexed, like what she was talking about. But then she explained the situation. But to hear my aunt, and somebody that, of course, I respect and I love, to see my healing and to see it work in practice, and for me to then connect all of that together, that was a big moment for me, because it's been like this journey of testing that healing and testing your skills and making sure that as you grow, like, you self-correct where possible, but also you allow the places that you just been waiting to blossom, and just not even knowing like how far it can ripple into your life without, it was so unconscious and automatic that I have no idea. Like, I wish I was more present in the conversation now, because I was like, it's clearly my eye was like, yo, but I'm like, thanks. Don't remember. I was washing dishes.
How beautiful, right? That's so beautiful, Shara. And yeah, you've shared so much about your healing on this and our growth, and just that's so beautiful. I love it. It's making me cry. I get
Don't
emotional
get
with
teary.
things like that. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, I can hear you now. Well, we went silent for a while there. We'll have Buddy
Mary?
back.
Okay, that's fine. Wait, so let's talk about future.
Yeah, let's talk about our future. So what do we got going on, Shara? This is going to be, we had 2022, 6 months. We had some amazing guests. And I'm going to go ahead and put my ask out here. I know that was going to come later.
Go.
But I'm going to go ahead and Because what we have coming up in 2023 is going to be these stories. I know we've been highlighting a lot of them in 2022, but these are really going to be the everyday heroes. Like, we are going to be very intentional on the stories that we showcase, on the topics that we showcase. I think we talked a lot about self-love, self-care, and that was great on the self and self-awareness. That's so important. We are going to move into an impact and intentional work in the space and bringing those everyday people. So, my ask, if you're listening to it, okay, I'm gonna talk slow because I end up talking fast. So if you can hear me, my ask is that you share this podcast with 2 people, maybe 3, maybe 5. Okay, I'll take 2, but we're asking you to share this podcast with people. We have an amazing following and we want to grow it because Shara and I started this podcast with the desire that our purpose was to impact a group of people, like to really move that needle.
Yes. So let me go ahead and add too. I'm just so listen. This is not just go send this email. This is like, okay, make sure you subscribe. This is get your book clubs together and be like, we're gonna listen to this episode, have a conversation about it. This is the next time you go to a conference, you don't see us there. You need to be asking somebody, like, you need to have them there to host or to moderate a panel. Like, this is what this look like. I know some of y'all got your own organizations, y'all on boards, y'all doing all this great stuff. And I'm telling you, this is the time to act. This is the time to be like, the next time we do this conference, we need y'all there to do something. Thanks. Add that to your list. Second of all, a lot of y'all got these certifications. I ain't going to say nothing about which ones we talk about. But if you got some certifications, you in these networks, why we not in there? Why we out here? Why we out here? So I'm throwing this out there so that we can have some intentional pieces to ask. No, we have some goals. Now, y'all not going to hear about all of them, but I want to say we will be doing some more live stuff. We're going to have our own personal live event, but we want to be more in our community because a part of getting these stories is us interacting with others. And Liz and I do a lot of work out in the community, and we have a list of guests. So we're sorry for all those people who are kind of like waiting, but we love you and we want to be intentional with it. But at the same time, we want to make sure we keep that list going, and it's not always just curated by our network. We want to make it very much so more expansive. And the reason it's important to us, like Liz said, it's her purpose, is our purpose, but the momentum around this work cannot die out because it's not on the news. It's not as shiny. That many people are transitioning out of this work. There's a lot of burnout, but we need to get the pipeline. Like, if we don't take nothing out of this, we doing this now so that there's a continuous pipeline of passion around this work. And so we need this momentum. We need this momentum, not just here, but anywhere we're talking about these conversations. So shout out to all the people in our network who's doing this work. But yes. And then secretly, I want a blue chip. I got to throw it out there. I want a blue chip.
I wasn't expecting that.
I don't care. I had to say it. I want a blue chip. Okay, listen, shout out to my cousin. She got a blue chip. And I never knew I wanted one until the happiness and elation she had about this topic. I was like, is this a thing? Like, what is it?
Is it because you thought about the live that we would record with confetti?
Well, it was that. And also, like, I'm not really one of those people who just like need to have those types of things. But what I realized, and she said something that just really stuck with me, she was like, when you are able to get to that level, she was like, the way I'm able to intentionally and connect with my audience, the conversations we have, like in the subscriptions or the direct messaging and those types of things, she was like, that's where some of the real work is. She was like, the real conversations isn't like her actually just delivering on the event. It's the relationship builder. It's those pieces. And I was like, I never thought of it like that. Like, when you think about Blue Chip, I'm like, oh, it's kind of, I was just talking trash about it like, 15 minutes ago. But now I'm just saying, hey, there's another way to impact people that aren't listening per se to our podcast, but need us to be in those spaces, and they only like to work with people who are considered certified. And I think, hey, if we got our certifications for other reasons, if blue chips matter and these check marks matter, then maybe we need to put it on there. So
yeah, if that gets us into the door to build community and build impact people, then yeah, I want it too. Okay, but I do want it because I want to have a balloon picture. Yeah.
this balloon picture. I'm gonna have to go look for it. Okay. What else,
Okay.
Liz? What else are you passionate about? Because I was only one, and I know you got a list. I know you do.
So I'm
Tell them.
also the other thing that I had that I want to talk to people about too was next year, as we're growing and whatnot, like we want to make our sponsorships available to people. I know that's something that
Oh
many
yeah.
people have asked us about, hey, are you sponsoring? Hey, are
Mm-hmm.
you are? And we are, but we've never I don't know what was holding us back for it, but I think for 2020, not I think, I know for 2023 is something that we want to do. So, that being said, like those people who have asked us, we're going to be doing that in 2023. So, reach out to us, and if you thought you want to, and nothing's too small, nothing's too big. So, um, we're taking it all. So, send it in.
Yeah. So for those of you, yeah. So yeah, I don't know what to say. I think I love the fact that people are super excited to want us to sponsor our podcast. I will tell you that I've probably been the more like slow to agree because we put a lot of work into. If you check out our website, yeah, I did. I said it out loud, Liz, so don't laugh. It's fine. Yeah. So I was a little slow to agree. But the reason is because we put a lot of work into the type of partners we want to partner with. And I personally didn't want to rush that. Like when I tell y'all hours of work, like if y'all haven't looked at our website, go look at our website. We spent a lot of time. First of all, shout out to Chris with the Patience of a Saint to really be intentional about what words we put out there, the information we put there, so that always ground us to who we want it to be. And partnership is really important these days. So want it to be intentional and also make it accessible to people who need this visibility, who wouldn't necessarily maybe have access to it. So access, accessibility, and also the having the same values that's listed on our podcast. And I just didn't want to rush it. I felt like it was very commercial to just be like, yeah, that's great. Ooh, money, money, money. I didn't feel the vibe. I was like, look, we done came this far. This ain't the time to be rushing and being like, well, that's a good coin. Thank you. Like I didn't feel it. I didn't feel the spirit.
No, no, and I'm, I think for me it was like the community piece of it. Well, also I'm a Capricorn, and I think about from a financial standpoint all the
No
time. I said
judgment.
it.
No judgment.
I
No
said it.
judgment.
I said it. I said it. But but I did think I'm like, well, we have so many contacts, and we're all about connecting people, and we're all about growing our community, and there's so many incredible people in our community. So,
It is.
again, highlighting them through the podcast, but also giving them a platform to highlight their services, what they have to offer, because I'm definitely I started being very intentional during COVID on like what I buy and who I buy it from, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely leveling that up in 2023 and going small business, going minority owned, going women owned, and also very like client like sustainable from a climate perspective as well too. So, go on our website, check it out. And speaking of our website, go on our website, right?
Yes.
Morethanwordspodcast.com. Go on our
Yes.
website, subscribe to our list. This is where we'll be sending you information on our upcoming events, upcoming episodes, everything that we have going on. We're definitely will be sending that out to our people who subscribe to our website and subscribe to our social. So you can access us on social, on Instagram and Facebook. We have a community page as well. So yeah, follow us.
Yeah. Follow us. So parting words, Liz. So I would like to do parting words because I think we should honor our reflection. I want to say, if I'm not going to say if to close out this year, I would like to just share my excitement for, I know I'm monotone with this level of excitement. Don't judge y'all. I think it's because it's still a little early on my side. We won't tell you what time we're recording this, but I hope y'all feel the spirit of good morning. But really, I'm excited for next year. And I'm excited for a number of reasons because, I think the one thing about this work is that I I wasn't ready for the scale that it took on so fast. And for those of you, I really thought we was just doing this. Like I was like, oh, this is gonna be a cute hobby, you know what I mean? And Liz was always like, this is gonna be a business and a franchise and not just let Liz go on and to, do her vision. Like, I love you. That's what we do. But I now see the potential that in the community that we can create. And it's the listeners, it's the our friends, our family who's been supporting us and really filling our cup up with feedback and deep conversations about what it is that we're doing here. And I want everything around that. And so my excitement comes to the little things, which is, we'll be doing our UK. I'll be traveling to the UK in a couple of weeks, and you'll see us going live a lot. So if you're not on our Instagram, get on there and bring your friends. But going on live, being in the same place, being international, hanging, doing more than words in different places, is really exciting to me. The other part about next year is, and Liz is gonna be so happy, but I just feel nauseous saying it out loud. But I'm looking forward to doing my vision board. Just so y'all know, I did a vision board. Oh gosh, that's so annoying.
I'm
If you see
dancing
the
over here,
video,
y'all.
she's so annoying. She's so annoying. She's so annoying. So for those of y'all who I have rejected many years over for not wanting to do a vision board, I'm not going. I'm gonna apologize, but I'm also gonna say I wasn't ready for it. But the vision board I did with Liz, so Liz and I did a vision board a couple of years ago. That vision board has carried me for 2 years. Like there is literally every single thing that was on there. Funny story, was kind of split in half, not intentional. Clearly, it was divine in this way. And the last word that was missing was thrill ride. And thrill ride, I think, encompasses what we're doing here, and it makes me super excited for what we're about to do next. So that, to me, I'm looking forward to, and I hope that my monotone / early morning voice doesn't negate the fact that this is really meaningful to me, and I'm pumped for the in-person stuff. Like, I think the stories you get here are all great, but being in person, being able to share a little bit more, so it ain't living on the internet forever. I can't wait for those moments with our audience and the people who really support us. So, Liz, what you got?
Oh God, I got so much. I had so much. I knew what I wanted to say, and then I just added more things to it. It's really late over here, so and I get funnier as it gets later where I'm
Oh,
at.
funny is not the word. Funny, when we
Ah.
got to get this, I'm gonna get it recorded next time because I was baffled by who that person was, and I loved you. You were like 5 years old and 12, and I loved it. We don't tell them. Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
No. I think excited, yes. I'm grateful and I'm so pumped and I'm just I just have all these amazing feelings about what's going to happen in 2023 and beyond and the things that we're building and I definitely I think gratitude is definitely my word. The amount of support that we've received from our friends, our family, both positive and constructive feedback. I think were very
Mm-hmm.
important. Some people are like, I don't understand what you're doing. Great, thank you. Or like, why is your social media all over the place? That's when Liz was doing it. But we got better when Shara came in there. So I think that is. I also looking forward to. I'm excited about just I guess a little bit a balance where I have autonomy over things. I'm excited to grow our community. I'm excited to see where this is going. I'm still reeling from all the incredible guests that we had from 2022. And when I was journaling the other day, I was like, can we top those? And then as we started talking this earlier today, before we started recording, I was like, oh my gosh, this is why my ask was for you to send this podcast to 2 to 3 people because we have some incredible guests and I'm excited. I can't even I can't even put into words how excited I am. And this is going to be incredible. And I'm really glad and grateful for you, Shara, because we put it on our website. We are a very unlikely pair, but
It's so
but
true.
I did this test. Okay, side note. I know we need to stop recording, but I did this test on my personality, and then I also thought about you as my partner in this podcast, and we're complete opposites.
Yes. I don't need no test to tell you that. I've been telling you. I'm like, I love you, Liz. You're going to have to give me time to get to your speedy. Like, we first of all, y'all, the you don't even get half the funny conversations that we have. And I have to fix my face. Like, if I don't work on nothing else personally, and shout out to all the people who tolerate me up until now. My face is built for like no poker. It's just like, if you want to know what Cher's thinking, it is in these eyebrows moving and all of this like family footage that's around this area here. If you're not watching the video, you would never know what that'd be so good, but it's hilarious. But I love our opposite pieces. And I love the fact that if people have never really, if you don't see coaching in action, it's a part of our friendship because we are very much so on different sides of the continuum in a great way. So we have to practice this work for even our own partnership. Now, it doesn't feel like work, of course, because we kindred, we kindred spirits.
No,
But
absolutely. But I think we definitely play on our strengths, and we bring, and I think, and if more people, what I would offer to people, definitely as a reflection, is when you're building a team or when you're working with someone, really understand your strengths. Take time to understand your strengths and remove the focus on trying to be like someone else.
come on. Come on, another quote of the day. If y'all go ahead, go get that background on IG ready. Oh, you dropping them gems today. You dropping them gems. I don't know. Y'all, should be a paid subscription. Oh, jeez. Okay, go ahead. Go
And hit
ahead.
the subscribe button. Thank you very much.
Ew, ew.
But yeah, like, I mean, focus on your strengths. Don't try to be like anyone else, because, and trust the other person, right? That's such a big thing, is trusting the other person. And also, too, trust yourself.
Period.
I mean, yeah, trusting others is important too, but also trusting yourself is also really important. And don't disregard or discredit all the things that you've done in your past. Like, don't forget. I ain't gonna forget about my accountant 101. Like, hello, we spreadsheet everything.
This is when my eyebrows go up and I'm trying to fix my face. I love the spreadsheets. I just don't use them.
No, she doesn't. I'm like, Cher, I filled it out for you. Don't worry.
I know. I'd be like, I'm so sorry, but my spirit won't let me move in those spreadsheets the way you do.
Well, just like I don't use those fancy things that you did. I try to copy it. I was like, you know what? This is not me. I can't do this.
Listen, but I love so we talking about IG, y'all. So so I love your content though. Like you get the excitement. Like listen, okay, look, we digressing, but this is kind of the background because, but I do want to say, Liz, you have been very intentional about our future, and I want to give you that credit. And I know you did spend a lot of time in your reflection on this, but I think you are the visionary pieces about where you see us going has always been probably deeply held in my heart, but not something that I knew was needed to come out. So I think if nothing else, like the future of More Than Words is in great hands, of course, because we're both together, but also because there's this igniting that's happening that I really honor for you because you've always had this vision. Like I'm usually the one to be like, okay, big picture, y'all, this is where we going. But this one was one of the ones where you definitely had to lead me. And I have the excitement you have about it and have had since the inception has been the momentum that I think that we all need. And I think that point about being a team, I think if you're not thinking about your people right now and what's going to get them energized and who is your emotionally, the passionate leader that's going to drive people, not just your workhorse, the workaholics or the people that you just rely on, but where's that energy, the people with the energy that's going to move it forward? Where are those people on your team? Because Liz, you're that person for me. And I think that where we're going from here forward, no matter where we are, we all need to find that in our community, because the energy around this work is the hardest part, in my opinion, to maintain. And knowing where those energy folks are and just leveraging and loving on them and supporting them, like I've had to learn how to do that for you and our friendship and our business partnership. It's probably one of the most valuable things. So I just want to say that if I don't even know what all the things Liz is cooking up in there, but I'm all in. Like, minus this hat situation, which we're gonna talk about this tea time. But if y'all see us on live in a hat, just know that Liz talked me into it. But I was rejecting this tea time. But we are gonna be in Europe, so let's do some cultural stuff. But I'm still rejecting that hat. But okay. Any last words, Liz? How you
No,
wanna
follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, get on our community page, send us your emails at Liz and Shara at morethanwordspodcast.com. Subscribe on our webpage. We'd love to hear from you. We check our Instagram page a lot, and our
email a
Facebook page,
lot?
and we
Thanks for the
email.
emails.
So please do. And yeah, happy 2023, y'all.
Boo yeah, we out.